So how about that? Avatar, the first season, finally through it. God, it's like, it just went like that, didn't it? So I am wrapping up the first season with this two-part episode, The Siege of the North. And as episodes go, it is good. It's a good way to finish off, the first season. The problems I have with it, I'll say right now, because it is good. The problems I have with it, I have to admit, I only have with it because this show has done so well in having such a high standard and has probably raised the bar a great deal as well. Because if this stuff happened in any other kid's show, I probably wouldn't give a shit. But the fact that it's done in a show that they've established so well, I think it's worth bringing up. So I guess what I'm saying is that the criticisms here are actually taken as a compliment, these criticisms, if that makes sense. Because it's usually, because it is so strong that I feel it's worth talking about. My brother saw the end of this first season here before me. He's starting to watch the show too. He's a little ahead of me, and he said, the two-parter, it's good, but it's rushed. And I started watching it not entirely knowing what he was talking about, but when it was all said and done, now I do know what he's talking about, because there are good aspects in here, and I'm not going to act like it was totally emotionally devoid. It wasn't. There's good scenes, but I'll admit I was not as invested in this massive big climax as I was in other episodes, and I think this was supposed to be like the really big climax. And I think the reason for that was, probably the way around that is, if they took out one of the other filler episodes, and I'm not against filler episodes, I'm really not, but if they maybe took out one of those and replaced it with a quote-unquote filler episode in the North Pole to set up a little bit more some of this stuff, I think it would have had a much bigger impact. But the problem is that there's a lot of times where it's like, a lot of exposition is thrown at you in these two episodes. And on top of that, there's supposed to be this emotional connection that happens between Sokka and the princess character. And it's not that it isn't there, it's that it sort of has to be juggled in with everything else, and there could have been more time devoted to it so that, I guess, you saw the episode, when she sacrifices herself at the end, it's not like a huge loss. That should be a huge loss. And if there was another episode to devote time to that relationship and not the dumbass triangle, I hate love triangles when they're done for drama. They never work. When has one worked? I can never remember one working. If there is one, I haven't seen it yet, or maybe it's not in my memory, but they work great in comedies, because that creates very funny conflict. But man, do they not work in any drama or romance, because they're either going to get together or it's going to end in tragedy. Why can't they just get together? And even if it does end in tragedy, why can't they just have a relationship that blooms and they come across the problems with the relationship, or the problems in being different people? It's like, why not a real fucking relationship? Again, that's something minor. That's tapping into something I really hate. Love triangles. So that was one aspect. Another aspect is that there's these spirits, like the spirit of the moon and the spirit of, I think, the ocean, that are in the human world. The Avatar finds out, and he has to go search for them, and he has to go into the spirit world, and the spirit world is awesome. And there's this really cool, what the hell's the name of that face stealer thing? What a great concept. I love that, the face stealer. It's just an Aang. Like, here's where the vagueness, I think, actually works. They say you have to be careful that he doesn't steal your face. And you don't quite know what's going on. You just know that this thing that has a great design is like this caterpillar spider with a vagina that spits out different faces, pretty much. Everyone goes on and on about the penis do in the last Airbender movie. They never talk about the vagina with the faces in it. But, so, this thing comes up, and you can tell that he's trying to steal the face. He's sort of going up to him, almost like he's trying to catch him off guard, but Aang is keeping very cool, and he's keeping very polite and thank you for revealing yourself. Yes, I understand. You can tell that he's keeping some sort of distance, and you don't quite know how it works, but you know something is going on with both of them, and I surprisingly like that vagueness. It kind of leaves it open, like, well, yeah, what was going on there? What were they doing? You just know it's something mental, because they never actually touch each other. So that was fun. And like I said, the spirit world was great seeing that again. Actually, in more detail, seeing the spirit world and some of the creatures, whatever that albino monkey thing was, whatever it was. I love that guy. I hope he comes back. So that's going on, and we find out that these waterbenders, they get their power from the moon, and firebenders get their power from the sun. Okay, that makes sense for the firebending. Why does the moon? Because it makes the water colder? I don't know. But here's the thing: the guy, General Malfoy guy, blots out the moon. He gets rid of the spirit, which destroys the moon. Again, you didn't quite know this is how it works, but okay, I guess you'll sort of take it. And then you find out, like, literally as all this chaos is happening, the princess is like, oh, I owe my life to the spirits. What? What are you talking about? Well, you see, when I was born, it's like there's a fucking battle going on down there, man. It's like, shouldn't we be like, okay, let's discuss strategies. Let's, it's... Yeah, I know the story's gonna come in later, but why don't you... Couldn't you have said this earlier? Couldn't we have moved this scene up? Couldn't that have been something she shares with Sokka earlier? Another developmental scene instead of this dumbass love triangle that really seems to go nowhere. So that's going on, and obviously she's the one that, I guess, saves the day somehow-ish, sacrificing her life-ish. Her life-ish for the fish, and I don't know if, again, I always gotta be careful because people are like, it's coming back, they're gonna talk about it later, so maybe they are, but as of now, I am confused. I don't know exactly what happened there. It's like, the spirit gave her something so she can live, and now she's giving that back to give back the life of the fish. Could the fish not die if she didn't turn the hair white? If it even is a she, I mean, you never see what they are. So you got that going on, and then you also have, what was the other thing? Again, not to go into the love triangle, but even the jerky boyfriend, because that's all he is in this, he's just the jerky boyfriend, is so forgettable. Even as forgettable jerky boyfriends go, this one is so forgettable. There's a scene that made me, and it is a hilarious scene, in fact, I laughed really hard at this scene, where the boyfriend, he sneaks in, he's behind the General Malfoy guy, and he takes off the mask, and it shows that he's, not one of the soldiers, and he says, your time has come! Runs after him, the General moves out of the way, throws him off the balcony. So as I was saying, the moon's gonna blot out, and they never reference him again. Like, they never reference this kid ever again. And that's... It's funny as hell. It is so funny that they would just dismiss this character that quickly. There's not even a guard sees him. He's just gone. And, on the one hand, that is hilarious. But really, you need a love triangle for that? Was he really so forgettable it doesn't even matter what happened to him after that? I mean, was he really that much of a plot device? And the answer is yes. Again, unless... Does he come back? Does he come back and say, you took my fiance who actually gave her... I can't see the point in bringing him back, but maybe they'll find something. If they do, I don't know. As of now, that seemed pretty pointless. And again, I like Zuko. I like him going in disguise. I like the fight with the general. I really like that once the general is being sucked in by the whatever that Mononoke monster thing that Aang turns into. After the general's being sucked in, even as Zuko and him were fighting, he still says, give me your hand. He still wants to help him. And, of course, the general, being the typical badass, is like, I will not, and pulls his hand back and say, I love that because that's like even more baggage for Zuko. It's just like everybody rejects him. It's like even his enemies, even when he hands out, you know, the only person that will help this person, the rejection is so strong, the general won't even take the hand to save his life. I love that stuff. It's so fucking sick. I love it. It's just, the more you can beat on this character. You know what? And it is sick, but I think the reason we like those kind of scenes and those kind of characters is because you know it not only does it create more to identify, but I think for the Zuko character, they're trying to build up more and more for him to really redeem himself and to come back. And the more and more you see stuff is hammering down on him and in different various ways, the more he'll be hurt, but the more he can crawl out of it. I think that is sort of a sign. It's like, well, you know, the deeper you dig yourself, it is the further you have to dig out, but you can still dig out. And if anything, you're all the more proud when you do it. So I think, honestly, even though it's still kind of disturbing that we do like those scenes, I think that's why, maybe, because I can't see them just making like, you know, yeah, Zuko's a bad guy and that's it. No, they're developing him pretty well, and I'll give credit to the guy who does the General Malfoy guy's voice. Again, for a character that's written kind of as a pretty straightforward villain, I like the way this voice actor is really sucking in the glory, like when he has... or appreciating the glory, I should say, when he has the spirit in the bag. That sounds weird. Sounds like a song or something, like a gorilla song. You know, he has the spirit in the bag, and he's just like, you know, I have done it. I have, you know, destroyed the moon. They're gonna write stories about me. I have made history. I mean, it's like, it's really sinking in for him, and I like that because it gives a little bit more dimension, and it would have been so much easier if he grabbed it and said, I did it, they will write stories about me in history, I've destroyed the moon, ha 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 ha, and I really like that they played it more quiet during such a big scene. I thought that was really cool. And the battle's really cool, you know. Every time the Fire Nation's attacking, I want to hear the orc theme. I want to hear you get to see more of those tanks. None of the balloons. I thought those were going to show up, but maybe they didn't. Maybe not enough time was allowed to make them. I don't know. They're building that up. You know, like, hey, here's a really, you know, this is now our victory because we can take flight. And that didn't show up here. Maybe it'll show up later, again. You should just assume if I say something doesn't show up, I'm always leaving it open to it might show up later because I'm not done with... I'm so used to reviewing movies. It's like, well, this is it. You know, you see the movie, that's, you know, and they may make a sequel, but, well, what do you think of the movie? So I never know if there's going to be more of it, but no, we're thinking, okay, so they get the power from the moon, alright, but once the moon is, like, covered and then taken out, it's like their powers just vanish. There's still the friggin' water! You know, this Fire Nation, I mean, they can still attack at night. I mean, they're not as powerful, but they can make fire. I mean, they have to make the damn stuff. The water's fucking right there. Why can they not use this? I don't get that. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I mean, it's like the moon can maybe play a part, but it's still water. It's water bending, not bending the light of the moon in water. That seemed weird to me, but again, that's nitpicking, I suppose. So, yeah, it seems like it's not that they tried to do too much per se. I actually think it's a good chunk and it's a fair amount. I think they just need one more episode to establish this stuff, to move it out, or to spread it out. I think if they did that, they would have... If they made this a 3-parter, we probably would have had like a really good, holy shit, what a climax. Like this could have been like one of the great episodes. But it's still a good episode. It still has the character, it still has the discovery, it still has revealing a bunch of stuff about how this world works and how the Avatar works and the spirit world and stuff. And it has good action in it. I'm trying to think what else. I like the... I'll get his name. But I like the uncle, Zuko's uncle. I like it when he steps up. in battle, which there's never a doubt that he will, but it always feels good when he does it. Because you get the idea that he's someone that, like, he'll fight for his honor, but he likes to stay more in the sidelines. Like, he's kind of an old man, and he has his ethics, and I'm curious why he's in the Fire Nation. Because his ethics don't always fall to what their ethics are. And I'm really fascinated by that. I love to know more about what the connection between those two brothers are, the Fire Lord and the uncle. I love to know exactly. I mean, the Fire Lord's pretty obvious. That's like, Attila the Hun, Hitler, dictator, rule the world guy. But I'm curious what the uncle's mindset is, because he doesn't seem like someone who should be there. Zuko is sort of going through a change, but at the same time, with the help from his uncle too, but at the same time, you can see he comes from his father. This is where this has come from, and then him being more in the world and on his own, and again, under the helpful eye of his uncle, he's getting a better, stronger heart, and becoming more honorable. But it's almost like why I really am questioning why the uncle is in this Fire Nation, or if he's planning something, or I don't know. I'm curious about that, but it's starting not to mash up. So, but maybe that'll play a part. Maybe they'll leave the Fire Nation. Who knows? Maybe they'll be like. It sort of seems like they're building that up. That they're gonna be like, you know what? Fuck the Fire Nation. We're gonna do our own thing. I mean, that'd be my guess. Or maybe the uncle dies or something, and Zuko's like, I don't kill the Fire Nation. Now I'm just speculating. I really don't know. May they stay there forever. He becomes the new bad guy. Who knows? So I'm just rambling now. But it's 2 episodes, so this vlog's probably twice as long. So it was a good finale. I mean, it was not great. And it could have been great, but it was still good. And obviously a lot of effort went into it, and they took advantage of all that they could do with the water bending and the fire bending, and I like that one guy, the teacher, who he does this cool move where he gets all the water, it's like a water tornado and stuff. I like that now Katara is technically a master now, waterbending master. That's great. I'm glad it wasn't like, well, we had to go through episodes and episodes of this. It's like, no, she picked it up, and you can see she fucking picked it up, because she was like, giving this guy a run for his money the episode before. So I like that now. Yeah, I think that's about all I got on this episode. So, that's about it. I can't wait to see where the next season goes, and I'll see you in the next season.